TJ, I guess just how's camp going after kind of the install of the spring and this summertime? How's it going for you guys on defense?
I'm very pleased where we're at. Our guys have done a really good job of preparing, showing up every day with the right mindset. They're grasping the defense really well. The number of our mistakes is really down. When you look at the ones and twos, really low. Obviously, some guys down the line got to keep picking up and going. But our effort and just the togetherness of the defense is really good at a high level.
There's a lot of bodies and moving in and out. How fun is that as a coordinator though to have a lot of different options on defense?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's what it's about. I think, especially with the design of the game nowadays, you can play so many teams that are spread and no huddle, and it's moving. You've got to have options where you can have fresh bodies on the field. I mean, it's just natural nowadays. We're going to ask these guys to turn and run the ball every snap, and when you're doing that over and over again, that's hard to do for 65, 70 plays a game when there's no huddle. And so you need to have that. And so we're continuing to work to create as much depth as we can at all spots. I love a room when a lot of guys have a role. I think, you feel a part of something, and I know what my role is, and I'm going to go do a good job with it.
One of the things we hear from pretty much every player we talk to is your energy. Even the other defensive coaches, how important is that to you to go out there and be the most energetic guy to set the tone in that way?
Yeah, I think that's natural to me, so I'm natural to my personality, but I do think on defense, you've got to have energy. You got it's part of it, right? The whole mentality of a defense is different. It's one step further. An offense defense guy come together. If you stay together, right, the offense wins. So if you're blocking a guy, you win. We got to get off that block and get to the ball. It takes an energy and effort level to play at that, and so I think just guys respond to that. I think our defense responds to that, and so I'm glad they're saying it in a positive way. I definitely bring that every day for them.
Who are some of the guys that you really like what they've done since this spring? Guys that have stepped it up and made a big move.
I think along our defensive front, I like our depth. We've created some depth. I mean, you look at all those guys up there. There's some guys that have been here, and there's some guys we got in the transfer portal, and then there's some freshmen. There's a combination of all those newcomers in that are really, it's day to day who you can point out who had a great day in competing, and that's a great thing for me. When you have depth up front, you need to have that in this conference. If you want to be successful and consistent, you got to have it, and I really think we're developing that in that room.
You got to be pleased with when you're talking about new guys like Kieran and Isaiah and Phillip that come in and weren't here in the spring and been able to step out there and get right into the rotation.
Yeah, no doubt. Those three have really made a difference, and what I love is the response of all the guys around them. That competition has made everyone better. That's the right response you want to have. If you're a player and a new guy comes in and he can do things to help us, guys are embracing that, and then they're going to compete and make sure, hey man, remember what I can do too, and that response has been awesome. And then with Malik and some of these freshmen, Amaris, and these guys, they can play and help us as well. And so we're going to keep. We're in a good spot right now of repping a lot of guys, and we're going to keep doing that as long as we can and carry that into games.
Talk about Malik, kind of got the start, I guess you could say, for the scrimmage. What did that mean for him? Is it kind of indicative of what he's been doing?
That was based on rotation. We haven't gone starters and all that yet, but Malik in particular has done a great job. He's had a really good camp. He's had a lot of clips that have shown up, stuff we point out to the defense in terms of his physicality and understanding of things. He doesn't look like a freshman out there.
The versatility of the group too. Keldrick got to can play 2 or 3 different spots. Malik can do that. Amaris. How valuable is that when you start to talk about packages and do different things?
Right. Versatility is one of the best traits you can have for a guy on the defensive side of the ball, because then you don't have to always sub in, sub out to match the personnel of the offense. You can call more things. Sometimes you have guys all right, I can only call this when these guys are in, and that becomes a little difficult where, hey, you want to present multiple looks for the offense. It puts the pressure on them. When you have guys on the field that can do multiple things, it just makes it easier.
A lot of young guys on the back end. What are your thoughts just on what you've seen from the secondary here in the first couple of weeks?
Yeah, love their competitiveness. They got good energy. We were talking about earlier. And they're doing a good job competing. Those guys they're fighting for the reps and wanting to get out there. We got to continue to solidify things, as we know. Being assignment sound in the back end is more important probably than anywhere else on the defense, because assignment busts back there equal points or big plays. And so those guys being honed in on that, I like they've taken the mentality. They understand the importance of that, and they've really been good about that. But as always with young guys, you got to make sure we're trying to present all the different looks to them to make sure they're having proper response and communication. You know, the most important thing is being on the same page, communicating to one another. And a lot of times young guys get out there and they don't want to communicate. It's not natural. So we're working on that. A bunch of those guys of learning how, man, be on the same page with the guy next to you.
Is that where Jared Thompson has become really valuable because of his experience? We've heard he's become a vocal guy already.
Yeah, extremely. JT's so comfortable. I mean, he's played a lot of football. He's very comfortable communicating, making calls, taking charge back there. And, you know, along with the things he does physically really well, that's a major part of it for him.
How good has Isaiah Rake's been? In particular, you know, obviously his knowledge of you know, your defense.
Right, yeah. The familiarity that we have is great, and I mean, he's had a really good camp. I think the best part is he's won the trust of his teammates because of how he's practicing, how he's playing, and they're seeing it. And he is a great teammate. Isaiah is just a really good person and a leader, and you know, he wants to do right by his teammates, and so they've grown, you know, good with him in a short amount of time, and which has been good for us because we're going to count on him.
Does that help you having somebody that you've seen him in your system? You know exactly what he's capable of.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know what he's capable of. You know what you're going to get from him, and I think he does a good job of communicating to the guys around him too. Where like he knows some of the things where like sometimes a player may not want to ask a question. Like Isaiah can feel that and answer a question for him. He's been around it for a couple of years and kind of knows how it should look.
How's your linebacker group coming along? What have you seen out of those guys?
I love their experience. You know, we have a lot of guys that play a lot of football in that room, which is awesome. And they have the right approach of like iron sharpens iron. They're all competing for those reps in those spots, make no doubt about it. But they're doing it in a way that's supportive of one another. And we're going to count on all those guys. You know, I think, you know, again, playing the linebacker position and guys running the ball and all that, you need to have some guys that get fresh and get in the game. And so they've gotten better and better. They have a good understanding of the defense, and they're doing a good job communicating.
We've heard so much about JC this preseason. I guess he was the guy, he admitted earlier this week he felt like he needed that development. He needed time to come on. Where have you kind of seen the biggest difference from him maybe from the spring until now?
Probably just his confidence level. You know, where it's like line up, I think I can, I probably can, to where now like he knows what he can do. And I think he's still just scratching the surface, to be honest. That guy has like top-notch ability, and he's learning a new spot and all those things. But he's been productive throughout this camp. I mean, you watch him practice. He's making plays on the ball. He's in the right position where he's supposed to be. His confidence and his comfort with playing it has gone up.
Will the helmet comms make a big difference for you think?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it will make a difference, but not quite the same difference. I think probably the design of it. Like in the NFL, where they use that, 90% of those teams still huddle. So the offensive defense still huddle. You talk to one guy, he can echo that message to the huddle. We don't play any offenses that huddle, or I mean, you know, again, 90% of the time. And so we still have to stay. We can't huddle ourselves because then they're going to be snapping the ball. You're not lined up and ready. So it will help some of our communication, but it doesn't eliminate. You know, I think the big part of the game where we're different is like all the signaling from the sideline. We have to keep that going. I mean, because you know, at the end of the day, like everyone's not going to hear that. It's one guy on the field, so you know, we're going through a lot of different ways of how that's going to be implemented. But I think at the end of the day, a lot of the communication will still be the same.
In the NFL too, the middle linebacker plays 90% of the snaps.
Right.
You guys will sub. There'll be a bunch of different. How difficult is that when you have to think about who's on the field for what package and who's got the green dot?
Yeah, it is, because you only have one guy at a time out there. So, you know, all the guys that have the green dot helmet will have two helmets. But it's still a matter of, you know, yeah, you're going to go to this package. Well, that's two guys with the green dot, and then someone's got to get the other helmet. So we've talked through all that stuff, and I'm sure it'll be whatever. I don't think it'll have as major effect on the game as maybe what the intent of it was as a rule change, but we'll see.
It probably help more on offense, right? Because
Definitely.
Brees could talk to Peyton more.
Yeah. I think that's where you're getting help. I mean, obviously the quarterback on offense will be wearing it, and now, you know, a lot of these teams line up, right, see the look, and then, you know, signal in the play. Well, not only can you signal in the play, you can also tell them, you know, you can explain to them what the look is.
Yeah.
Start talking about what the defense is. And so, you know, I think every guy's making a judgment of how much information you want to give the guy with the green dot. You don't want guys out there thinking too much, but I think it'll have more effect for offense.
We've heard from the guys that not celebrating on defense is considered a low, I guess, just your fieriness and your intensity that you want from this group? What's kind of your checklist from a play-to-play basis for those guys?
Yeah, I want guys that like have personality, be their own personality. Don't try and be something different, but like enjoy what you're doing. When you think about it, like if you have positive energy about something you're doing, you're probably gonna be better at it. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, it's like, man, what we get to do is pretty cool. Whether you're playing at Auburn or you're coaching at Auburn or playing in this conference or like, you know what, like, yeah, it's hard. It's a lot of work, but it's fun, and we all chose to do it. So let's go show our enjoyment and show our enjoyment for our teammates. And that's all. We're just trying to create an environment where that's welcome and that's okay. Show your personality, man. Have fun, enjoy it, and then you know, get focused, get ready for the next play.
Would Eugene then be a creative player for you because of what he does?
Say again, Eugene.
Eugene, yeah, that'd be kind of guy. Hey, that's
No, it's easy. So I can go reverse with Eugene. I got to tell Eugene,
Slow
all right,
down,
reel it
settle
back.
down,
Reel
yeah.
it back. You got to play the next play.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
But no, I yeah, Eugene, man, what a great like smile on his face and great approach to everything he does, and you know, fun to coach.
What have you learned about him? I mean, obviously you saw him last year. What have you learned about him since the spring, now heading into this season?
Well, I mean, just you know, learn him as a person. You know him as a player when you're at another team and you see him run around and making plays, and you know the player.
Yeah.
Now, know the person, and as great a player he is, he's a better person, and you start to know what makes Eugene tick and what he's been through in life, and it's pretty incredible. You know?
Hey, this is kind of an off the beaten path question. Did you ever coach with or learn from Brother Oliver? Bill Oliver?
I have not.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
I was thinking of you and Will as always being similar. In a
Oh,
way.
okay,
Will
yeah.
learned a lot from him.
Yeah. So I've heard Will has spoken about it and all that, but we had never worked together. No.
DJ, the defensive line rotation, I mean, is that something, or your previous coaching stops, have you had a group that's, you know, gone through 6 or 7 guys like that? And kind of what's your game plan for keeping those guys fresh, knowing you're planning on rotating a lot?
Yeah, my philosophy up front has always been like as many guys that are able to, you play, right? Where there's not a drop off. So we're not sacrificing the quality of what's on the field, but you those guys, when a big guy gets tired, it's hard for him to recover from it. And so you don't want those guys getting worn down. All of a sudden, the fourth quarter now, you're not coming off the ball the same way. You're not affecting the quarterback the same way. You got to keep those guys fresh. So you start rolling them early in a game. And so, like I like right now, we have a lot of guys that I feel can play at a high quality level, and we're going to keep doing that with them as long as we can.
How do you simulate that in practice?
We do it that way. So anytime we get the team periods, right, where it's somewhat close to what a game would be, we're on the sideline doing our subs, we roll it that way. So there's certain points, right, where a dead ball on your sideline, where it's easier to sub in and out, and we kind of run it that way so they get used to it. And they're all together with their coach can handle the substitution, and we just communicate it that way.
What is your recruiting philosophy, and why do you think you guys have had some success this summer in recruiting?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we're trying to find guys that fit our culture. I think Coach Freeze has done an unbelievable job creating an amazing culture that's unique here to most places, and so we're working really hard to get guys here, guys that we feel fit that, because then when they come here and they're around it and they're around our players and see how things work, it becomes natural. You know what? It's pretty this is where I want to be. And that's where I think our players, our program, Coach Freeze's culture sells itself. It's just getting the guys here.
What have you seen? Woodyard's not a young guy, but he's an inexperienced guy. But him, Riddick, DJ, what have you seen out of that group of guys as they push for playing time?
They definitely are. Talk about Rob first. I mean, he would have to be. We don't have this list or anything made, but if we were saying most improved players from spring ball to fall camp, Rob would be on that list. He'd be in that top group of guys, whatever that is. I'm so happy with Rob and how he's worked and prepared and really improved his game. And then DeMarcus is, you talk about a guy that has unbelievable ability. I mean, as a freshman, he does some stuff out there in the field that's like, whoa. And now it's like most freshmen, getting them to be consistent and always knowing what you're going to get from him. But he's got tremendous upside.
And then DJ, what you seen out of Barber?
And then DJ Barber, love his physicality. DJ's old school. He is going to hit you, and he enjoys it. And he's another guy that just, when you look at from spring, luckily we've had all those guys through it to spring ball to here. I mean, he's taken major steps in that. his approach every day is the same. Whether he had a good day, bad day, like you know what you're gonna count on from DJ.